Hey guys, it's Max. How's everybody doing? All right, going to try to do a real quick study hall. I saw a question in Discord about Granite Shares, and since they were just selling puts, they didn't have an underline. Anyway, so let's look at Granite Shares and see what they have and what they don't have. All right, and then we're also going to look at something else. Look at salty and alty type hedging and that kind of stuff. All right, so Granite Shares right here. I downloaded the trades for three of their funds. So on NBYY, they do have an underline. The underline is NVDL. They're selling flex options in NVDL, but let's just go get, or I think I've already got one of their trades. They have the 88. It looks like they're selling put spread. So you think, okay, selling put spread, so they don't have an underline. Well, no, not actually. They do. Because their underlines whatever they're selling the put spread on. Anytime you sell a put, you have an underline. The underline is the stock NVDL. Which is leveraged. So they have the 89.80 sold, and right now that's already in the money, but I bet you when they put it on, it wasn't in the money. And I just took off the put spread. I just took off the spread part of it. Just anytime you sell a put, that's the exact equivalent as a covered call. You could make that an 89 strike call and add stock, and it's the same profit and loss. So you do have an underline. It's in VDL. But anyway, then when they do the spreads, that's essentially a caller. That's the same thing as having stock and doing the ULTY strategy with a caller. But you don't need stock, but it puts you in the exact same position. This is actually a better way to do it. It's more efficient, but it's limited downside, and you do get upside to a point. Anyway, okay, so look over here at the SPX trade is a better example, or it's the YSPY trade. So they trade something called SPXL, which is from Direction, and it's a triple leveraged S&P fund. Well, they have the 193, 174. They have several tranches on. This is the furthest one up, but this is just a caller. And look how good this, or how well this thing's done. So let's look at YSPY versus XDTE from Round Hill, which is a great fund. Everyone loves XDTE, and YSPY did a little better. Now YSPY is using leveraged options, but YSPY itself isn't leveraged. They're just selling options. But anyway, so YSPY does have an underline. It's SPXL. NVYY's underline is NVDL, and the third one's underline is it's XBTY. These guys underlined as BITX, and check this out. I say this. Yeah, XBTY trade. Okay, so these guys are selling options, and they sold a far in the money option, and they still have plenty of more upside to go. So their underline is BITX, which is double leveraged Bitcoin. And yeah, this is a badass. They sold an in the money put spread, but that selling the in the money put just by itself, that 60 put, just that by itself is the same thing as selling that's a covered call right there. But you don't even have to have the stock. The put's a covered call all in one trade. But then when you include the spread, that's a caller all in one trade. This is the exact same position, the exact same stuff that ULTY does, is put on these callers. ULTY actually owns the stock. These guys don't own the stock, but it makes no difference. It makes zero difference. The math works out the same. So, all right. So anyway, so that's that is Granite Shares. Those are good funds. Those are really good funds. But look at YSPY against the SPY. Check this out. The SPY beta, but I mean, YSPY is a pretty good fund. I mean, everyone loves SPY, me included. YSPY against SPY. I mean, YSPY barely beats it. But I mean, SPY is awesome. Okay, so good. That's all for that. So then the other thing I wanted to show is this this income, this different ways to hedge. All right, so I tested different hedging strategies with Salty and Alty, and I kept coming up with this one called Cash is King, and it's half. All it is half Alty, and then the other half is TOAK, and that's your whole. That's all you need for income. But then I do it other ways too. But anyway, let me show you what I have. So $65.35 Alty and YQQQ. That's a proxy for Alty and Salty, and that's pretty close to neutral. You're long, but it's long, but you're about the same as you would just going and buying the SPY as far as risk and reward goes. That neutralizes a lot of Alty's risk. It makes Alty the same as owning the SPY, basically. I mean, they're close. All right. But then I do a half portion of that where I mix in some TOAK with it and kind of water that down, and that half portion does really well. The drawdown's only 5.5. This half portion is basically like turning Alty into a bond. But you also use some inverse, some YQQQ, and some TOAK, which actually is a bond. But anyway, the Cash is King is the last way, and it's just doing 50% Alty and 50% TOAK. Just do that for your income sleeve, and this does even better than the other way. This beats the SPY. This has the drawdown's good. You can see right here, this last column is just the Vanguard 500. This Cash is King has a better Sharpe ratio and a better Sortino. This is the best thing I found in a long time. It's just half TOAK and half Alty. And I bet you that half BLOX and half TOAK would work also. The point is half anything, but then when you put it with TOAK, that's super stable, and it cuts the risk by half. But TOAK also pays an income, and both of them together are still fine. So anyway, so right there, I tested them by themselves, and by themselves, the half and half way works way better, but they have to exist as part of a portfolio. So then I did it over here, and I put it in with the VU. So the 65-35 portfolio mixed with the VU. So it's 80% VU, and then it's a 20% high yield portfolio, which would be 65% ULTY and 35% YQQQ. So in this case, it's 12.5% and 7.5%. But we'll see how that did. That got a 7% return. Now, but then the super safe way to do it, when we do like a half portion of that and mix in a little bit more TOAK, so 6.5% Alty, 3.5% YQQQ. I mean, this just couldn't be any safer. And then some TOAK, and then the rest in VU. I mean, that's your ultimate safety. And sure enough, the drawdown was minuscule. And then the third way to do it is 80% in VU, but then 10% in Alty and 10% in TOAK, thinking that even though Alty is pretty risky, and granted it's 10% of your portfolio, it balances. It should balance out, and it does. This way always comes out better. And then also, let's look down here So here's portfolio income. Portfolio 3 is the one I kind of like, the cash is king. You get, it splits the year into two parts, but you get 37 plus 56. So that way generates about $90,000 income. And now let's see if it's really distributable. And so we go over here to settings, withdraw. Oh yeah, that was okay. That last amount was figuring withdrawing $5,000 a month, which is $60,000 a year. That was on the 6% rule. So, I was just showing that one way just now made 90,000. So let's see if you could take 90,000 out, and I think you could, but let's see. So 5,000. So let's go. 7,000 a month comes close to 90,000. Rebalance monthly. Okay, here we go. Let's see if these results could support that, and they could. Portfolio number 1, which is just 65-35 salty alty, could do that. Did a fine job, still came out, still made a little bit of money. Portfolio B, which is the ultra safe way, did fine too. But then portfolio C, which is the little bit better way, it looks like, did really well. Had a good return, was able to pay $7,000 a month, and over just a year, still have a 5.6% positive portfolio return. And it right here, it has a better Sharpe-Sortino ratio. Anyway, I can share these results with you if you guys like, but I know you guys do a lot of back tests yourself, but I haven't found anything lately that does better than the 50-50 allocation with Alt-T. And there's something about the TOAK, because it's guaranteed, and it just really smooths out the rough times in ULTY. And here's I have 2 infographics that explain it. I'll share them with you in the link. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a nice evening. See you.